What's going on, y'all? Marquise here with MH Capital, and in this video, I'll be breaking down my most profitable trade of the week. So let's jump right into it. So this week was a really tough week to trade. It was NFP week, and for those that don't know, NFP stands for non-farm employment, and it was just a really tough week to trade. A lot of setups wasn't working out like they normally do, but it happens, and that's why you have to make sure that your risk management and your emotions are under control. But I took this trade on Thursday, March 6th, and we see here initially that gold was bearish during London session, but then it started to flip bullish. And so as I noticed that it started to break highs during New York session, I started to look for buys. When price broke above this swing right here, it left a gap, and that's when I marked up the zone and was looking for a price to come back into the zone. So we have this candle here at 9:30 where it creates the demand zone and it goes above, pushes above this swing. And then we have the next candle here that taps back into the zone. And then I was looking for buys on the break of the candle right here. So this is where I entered. And as I normally do, I put my stop loss below the candle and targeted my 1-to-1, which is this blue line right here. So just looking at this demand zone trade, one of the things that I was kind of iffy about was that the 200 EMA, which is this red line right here, was kind of cutting through price. And typically when the 200 EMA is cutting through price, it's not the best scenario for demand or supply zone trades because the 200 is cutting through price. So I was a little worried about that. But like I mentioned earlier, price was breaking structure to the upside and breaking above these swings. So I was looking for buys and just going with where the trend was going. And so I entered there. At the break of candle, and then we see here that price continued to push up and it hit our take profit level. So I actually didn't get out at my usual 1-to-1. I noticed that there was a gap on the 1 hour, which is this horizontal line right here, and this is where I actually got out of the trade. But let's just jump to the 1 hour to check that out. So on the 1 hour, we see that there was a supply zone right here and it left a gap. And let me just make this a little smaller. So there was a supply zone here that actually broke structure to the downside, and then price was coming back, and I figured that price would fill that gap in. So that's where I targeted my exit for the trade. And as I mentioned before, I like to use the 5-minute and the 1 hour in confluence with one another. If I'm leaving a runner on a trade, I tend to look at the 1 hour to see where there may be gaps in the market that price could be looking to fill. And so that's exactly what happened here. Price filled this gap and tapped into this 1 hour supply. So jumping back to the 5-minute, we see here that that's where my exit was. So got a little bit more than a 1-to-1, so 1.3, so just a little bit more than a 1-to-1, but that's where I got out of the trade. And that basically wraps up this trade. Your typical demand setup where you have a break of structure and a gap, waited for price to come back into the zone, took the break of candle entry right here, stop loss goes below the candle. First exit point was a 1-to-1, but like I said, I noticed that there was a gap just slightly above on the 1 hour, so I just targeted that for my exit for the trade, and that about wraps it up for my profitable trade of the week. This trade was called out in my Discord, and a couple other people took it with me, so it was nice to get a win on a Thursday. If you're looking to join a community of like-minded traders, feel free to check out the link in my description. That about wraps up for this video. I hope you guys found value in it. If so, feel free to leave a like or a comment if you have any questions. And as always, let's continue to build good habits, stay consistent, and watch our capital grow. I'll see you guys in the next one.